just stand up if you're naked. Anyone? Nah, we're all wearing clothes here today. I hear it might be a thing at TEDx Portland, but not so much at Penn State. We wear clothes every day, and as far as we can tell, we have been wearing clothes as far back as 50,000 years ago. In hot climates, in the Arctic, and everywhere in between. In hot tropical climates, you don't need to wear clothes, but you do. Long capes of feathers, plucked from 1,000 tropical songbirds, capes as far back as 6,000 BCE that show the craftsmanship and artisan in magnificent, colorful patterns. From Mesoamerica to Peloponnesian islands, this art is still alive today. And some of these looks, amazing. And the tech involved, huge, ginormous. Early archaeological evidence of cloth is found across the globe. It can indicate one's status in office, one's fertility and availability, or something of significance in that culture. Because clothes are not just used to cover the body. Because wearing what no one else has, nor ever thought to dare to wear before, is the ultimate status symbol. And the desire to create unique textiles in innovative ways has driven many, perhaps most, of technologies in the world. Hi, I'm Charlene Gross. I am the director of the Penn State Fashion Archive and head of design and technology in the School of Theater. I also teach the fashion history courses, which has led me to my talk today. So, what is a textile? A textile is defined as any material, aka cloth or fabric, with interlacing fibers. This can be done by weaving, by knitting, by knotting, by felting. It's taking those raw fibers, basically the raw material, and interlacing them in any way. And the need to do this since prehistoric times has driven technologies from the beginning and will take us into the future. Today, we will look at 3 technologies and innovations in textiles that have branched out so widely for their original intended use, you may not know that's why they were originally invented. We could look at dozens, but we only have time for 3. The wheel, the computer, and nanomaterials. This is an ancient bronze, this is a site from ancient Bronze Age Turkey where there was a huge invention was thought to be developed, lead smelting. And why did humans do this? To make heavy objects, multiple heavy objects. And what is often found at these ancient sites are spindle whorls, heavy round discs that are made out of lead. A whorl is a round disc, right, that has a long central spindle, basically an axle, and we have examples of these from around the globe, some as old as 30,000 years old. And for whorls to make better, more consistent string, they need to be denser, heavy, and round. And these whorls or discs, when they're made out of lead, do exactly that. Lead, it's dense, it's heavy, it does the job. So a heavier spindle whorl allows the fibers to be spun more tightly, and whorls were practical for the making of string, which allows us to make nets and snares for hunting and fishing. And the heavier whorls were practical for all these things. Yet, in order to move the spinning fibers further out from that central piece, they became larger and heavier and often spoke what looked like today what we would call a wheel. And for thousands of years, while the spinners and fiber makers, mostly women, improved on these spindle whorls, the transport industry, mostly men, were using animals to drag sledges and poles and stuff behind them. And why this division of power? Spinning and eventually the weaving, is a task that's very safe to do around children. It's also a task you can pick up and put down while children are being children. Now I admit this next part is pure speculation, but I bet a couple thousands of years went by and one of the women turned to one of the men and said, you know what, maybe we should turn a couple of these spindle wheels on their side and make some wheels. And we know wheels were invented sometime between 6,000 and 5,000 BCE, when Neolithic technology spreads from the Near East to Eastern Europe. So I propose that the whirl became the wheel, and then the cart, and eventually the minivan. Because the whirl is a simple tool and became even more effective. And as it became more effective, the volume of fibers being spun into yarns and textiles exploded. And for thousands of years, the only way these yarns would be made into clothing was the interlacing of these fibers. They did it by knotting and knitting. And knotting is cool, and knitting is lovely, it's meditative even. But how does it scale? By making the heavier, more perfectly round spindle whorls, the process of making string becomes faster and more efficient. The quality and the consistency improves, and string could be made strong as well as fine. And the ability to make more textiles allowed human cultures to grow and expand. But how does this scale? The loom. In about 5,000 BCE, looms are believed to have been invented in China and the Near East. Pliny the Elder's Book 11, the Natural History of Rome, listed all the key technologies and industry which made the Roman Empire possible. And Roman looms made some of the most exquisite fabrics in the known world, and they did it in volume and scale. Looms allowed manufacturing of textiles to flourish alongside practical things. They made the most durable sails. They made protective clothing for their army. And Pliny credited looms technology and looms and textiles as the thing that set the Roman Empire apart, both visually and strategically. And there are a lot of additional developments in the textile industry between Pliny the Elder's Rome in 1804. But we're going to jump ahead to when the textile industry developed the jacquard loom. Now, looms have been found across the globe, from simple machines to complex weighted looms, and weavers carried the threads on a shuttlecock from left to right. They take the weft across the warp, over and over and over again. Picture it, 1804, Joseph Marie Jacquard transformed textile production with his tensioned loom. He allowed preloaded shuttles with different colors to be mechanically released, removing human weavers. Water-driven wheels turned a system of gears that passed over large punch cards, and the holes in the cards were programmed the loom, triggering the release of specific shuttles in a precise sequence. So textile patterns could be designed once, encoded into the punch card, and then reproduced endlessly with extreme accuracy. One could load a loom, insert the punch card, and generate unlimited copies of very complex, complicated patterns, making this machine an early form of programmable technology. And for the next 130 years, the fashion industry expanded and refined this punch card system until the computational loom. Yes, that's what they called it. And what does this have to do with you? Well, in 1937, the IBM Corporation realized the Jacquard punch card system was vastly faster and more accurate than human data entry, because humans can be riddled with errors. IBM adapted the punch card system to feed data into vacuum tube mathematical calculators, and the punch card was the primary method of computer program storage for the next 3 decades. And the on-ramp to today's doom scrolling. Now, we need to skip ahead again. We need to skip a whole bunch more cool stuff and get to nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is the science and engineering of manipulating matter on a molecular scale to control and enhance desired properties of that material. And where was this done first? Textiles, man-made textiles, because there are just not enough sheep and silkworms in the entire world at the rate and the price for which humans wish to pay for it. Chemists in the textile industry developed rayon, nylon, acrylic, polyester, Gore-Tex, spandex, which led us to spacesuits, wetsuits, ski parkas, wrinkle-free chinos, athleisure wear. Because natural fibers are just too unpredictable, too organic, and individualized, whereas artificial fibers can now be engineered at the molecular level to be nearly perfect for their intended user. Man-made textiles are engineered materials with 1,000 formulations made to be whatever thickness, length, strength, porosity, clarity, etc. that you may need. Clothing can be engineered to be absolutely ideal for their user down to the micrometer. Last year, the global industrial trade market sold $1.4 trillion in textiles. It directly employs 75 million people worldwide, with hundreds of millions more selling, trucking, and using those textiles for almost everything in this room. If you look around you, what is a textile? Your clothes, sure, the carpet, the covering on the wall. What else is a textile? The screen behind me, the flexible polyamide circuits in your cell phone, the screen protector on your cell phone. If I took a magic wand and waved it around the room, we'd all be a couple hundred naked monkeys sitting on some wooden slats with our bare feet on some really cold poured concrete floor, with not a whole lot of stuff around us. And while the toilets outside this room are not a textile, the toilet paper is. There'd be no toilet paper. We'd all be a little sad, right? So the textile technology remains the world's most innovative, and there are too many advances to name in this brief talk. And to give you a sense of scale, last year globally, 3.55 million patents and trademarks were filed. Half, 50% of them were done in the name of textiles and textile manufacturing. Half. Textile tech has been clothing us, sheltering us, embracing us, surrounding us since prehistoric times, and it will be breakthroughs in textile technology that will cover us in our future. And I hope when you leave this evening, you will overthink what a textile is. Because I believe there will be innovations in textiles and improving those textiles, and what those innovations might be will lead us to what tech might look like in the not-so-distant future. Thank you.